Welcome to the Football Whispers channel. I'm here with the latest developments in football. Before we get into the news, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Last Italy champion Napoli has finally reached a common ground with Victor Osimhen after long negotiations regarding a new contract. The new agreement is planned to be for 3 years. Additionally, it will include a release clause of approximately €140 million. This extension eliminates the possibility of the player leaving in the near future, as his contract will be prolonged for another year. With this new deal, Osimhen is set to become one of the highest-paid players in the club's history. The official announcement is expected to come soon. Kenan Yildiz is not at all satisfied with his current situation at Juventus. The young star, despite his impressive performances in the Turkish national team jersey, has hardly had any opportunities. Kenan is considering a possible departure in January. It is not yet clear whether it will be a permanent transfer or a loan. He has significant suitors from Germany and England, and contacts have already begun. Giorgio Chiellini, who most recently played for Los Angeles FC and left a lasting impression with his contributions during his time at Juventus, has announced his retirement from football. The Italian legend is expected to return to Juventus, with the club expressing a desire for him to take on a role in the technical staff or work with the youth categories. Juventus has already taken steps for the upcoming summer's planned transfer of a centre-back. Giorgio Scalvini, the rising star from Atlanta, has been identified as the primary target. The Italian club had rejected a verbal offer that came from Paris Saint-Germain in the past months. It is said that the club's asking price is around €50 million, but it is highly likely to increase by the end of the season. Juventus has already initiated some preliminary discussions with the player. Juan Cuadrado, whose upcoming surgery at Inter has been confirmed, is expected to be sidelined for approximately 3 months. Inzaghi plans to fill this gap by placing Darmian in his position. However, in this scenario, a new move for a centre-back is required. Inter is preparing to bring in Thiago Gelo, a player they have been monitoring for years in that position. The young player's contract with Lille will expire at the end of the season, and personal terms have been agreed upon. The final details are still being discussed. Inter has not yet decided whether to bring the player in next month or at the end of the season. If they want to bring him in early, they will need to pay a certain amount to the French team. Negotiations are ongoing. Tottenham has announced the signing of a contract with Destiny Udogie that will last until 2029, with an additional 1-year option. The player, who was acquired just a year ago with an investment, has shown significant potential and development in a short period, and the club is pleased with the Italian defender. Tottenham is gearing up for a new defensive move in January, as confirmed by Postecoglou. Mark Guéhi from Crystal Palace and Jared Brantwaite from Everton have long been tracked by the club. Additionally, there were some contacts made during the summer for Bayer Leverkusen's star Edmund Tapsoba. However, acquiring players of this caliber at a reasonable cost in January is quite challenging. Tottenham has not made a decision yet. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, whose playing time has significantly decreased at Tottenham, is preparing to leave. The target is January, but teams interested in the player, such as Juventus and Ajax, are only open to a loan deal. Although Atletico Madrid made serious efforts during the summer, they couldn't meet the demands of the London club. The proposed offer with an optional purchase option was deemed inadequate due to its non-mandatory nature, leading to the cancellation of the transfer. The future of the Danish midfielder remains uncertain. Following the sale of Harry Kane, Tottenham did not make any additions to this area and opted to continue with Richarlison. Moreover, they generated a revenue of over €100 million from this transfer. However, they did not want to rush into this matter. In other words, a forward transfer is planned in the near future. Santiago Jimenez, who has had an incredible breakthrough wearing Feyenoord's jersey, managed to attract the club's attention. The player's terms have been inquired about, and now they are in a waiting phase. The initial steps will be taken in the coming months. Brentford has set the price for the anticipated but short-term goal of Ivan Toney leaving the team at €100 million for January. The club has no intention of losing the English forward and will do everything possible to keep him at least until the end of the season. Despite Arsenal's interest, they would need to sell at least 3 players to create such a budget. Other London teams like Chelsea and Tottenham also remain interested. Arsenal is ready to part ways with Eddie Nketiah in January to create a budget for a forward transfer. The club has an asking price of approximately €40 million. Several Premier League teams, including Fulham, Brentford, and West Ham, are closely monitoring the situation. If a move is made in this position, it will be added to the list of players available for sale. Currently, there are no active initiatives. There have been numerous rumors circulating about Aaron Ramsdale's potential departure from Arsenal. Mikel Arteta's first choice is David Raya, with the young goalkeeper currently relegated to the bench. The coach doesn't believe he has trained hard enough, and for now, he only gives him playing time in cup matches. It has been confirmed that Arsenal will acquire Raya's transfer rights in January. The club is set to spend approximately €27 million from its coffers for the transfer. Nevertheless, Arteta has stated that there are no thoughts of selling Ramsdale in January. However, the final decision will rest with the English goalkeeper, as his current situation seems to have significantly impacted him. Chelsea's dreams of signing Victor Osimhen have at least temporarily fallen through. The club is now forced to turn to other alternatives. The latest name in consideration is Victor Gyökeres, who has been making waves since transferring to Sporting Lisbon at the beginning of the season. The player was competing in a lower league in England just last season but has made significant progress in a short period. The Portuguese club plans to demand much more than the €26 million they paid for him. Entering the final year of his contract with Chelsea, Thiago Silva is preparing to leave the team. The experienced 39-year-old defender believes he has reached the end of his career and plans to make his final move by returning to his home country. The reigning Brazilian champions, Fluminense, have prepared a one-year offer, which will soon be presented to the player. In the summer months, Trevoh Chalobah, who caused a rift between the German giants, remained with the team due to the club's failure to reach an agreement. Now, neither Bayern Munich nor Borussia Dortmund is considering making any moves in January. The player has recently suffered an injury, and his return is not expected until the end of January. This will likely hinder any potential transfer. It can be said that his ties with Chelsea have completely severed. Therefore, if not in January, his departure from the team is expected at the latest in the summer months. Chelsea is preparing to recall André Santos, who was loaned to Nottingham Forest in the summer months. Contrary to the agreement, the player has been given almost no chance, struggling to find playing time. It is expected that he will be loaned to a different team for the remainder of the season in January. The London club has already started exploring options. Chelsea has exercised the option in Ian Matson's contract, extending their agreement with the player for another year. While no official announcement has been made, credible sources have confirmed the development. The club has already started negotiations with Matson for a new and long-term contract. If Chelsea fails to reach an agreement with the player, they aim to sell the young left-back next summer. Newcastle United has confirmed that Nick Pope will be sidelined for approximately 4 months due to injury. The club has communicated that they do not plan to make a goalkeeper move for now, but if the absence is felt until January, they will consider making a move. The candidates are Hugo Lloris, David De Gea, and Ramsdale. De Gea has given the green light to a possible return to the Premier League and is open to joining the English team. The final decision will be in Newcastle's hands. While Anthony Martial's contract includes an option for an additional year, Manchester United has no intention of exercising it and plans to part ways with him in the summer when his contract expires. He is expected to become a free agent unless a suitable offer comes in January. If Martial departs quickly, United aims to bring in a player who can compete with Haaland. Serhou Guirassy, the standout player of the season, is the primary candidate. The release clause of €17.5 million, effective in January, will not be a problem for the club. The player is already ready for a new adventure and has rejected the new contract offer from his current club. As mentioned, the priority is to sell Martial first. Manchester United has identified Jean-Claire Todibo as a priority target for January. The player on the list is seen as the most suitable target. The management has initiated discussions with the player. Todibo is open to a possible adventure in England, and the French club does not have an exorbitant demand for him. Manchester United continues to search for a solution for Sancho, who is not part of their future plans. Most recently, he was proposed to Barcelona in exchange for Rafinha. Although Barcelona had shown interest in the English player at one point, they are not currently inclined to make such a move. However, there has been no response to this verbal offer yet. Additionally, no outcome has emerged from the swap proposal, which also includes Daniel Malen. The Dutch player is ready to leave Dortmund, and he doesn't even want to wait until the end of the season for it. However, the Red Devils have shown no interest in Malen. The German team has set a price of approximately €35 million for their player. Raphael Varane is not satisfied with his current situation at Manchester United. He is not regularly featured in the lineup by coach Ten Hag, and Johnny Evans often takes his place in most matches. A potential transfer in January seems sensible for both parties. The club is not open to any loan agreements and has an expectation of around €30 million for the transfer. Bayern Munich is closely monitoring Varane among potential suitors. Liverpool has announced that Joel Matip will miss the rest of the season due to the injury he suffered. As his contract is set to expire at the end of the season, this marks the end of his Liverpool career. Klopp mentioned that they are waiting for the right time to make a transfer to replace him. Maxence Lacroix, who currently plays for Wolfsburg, is the first name mentioned. The club has an expectation of around €30 million for the French defender. There have been no talks yet. Liverpool is not satisfied with the playing time Fabio Carvalho has found since he was loaned to Leipzig at the beginning of the season, and they have contacted the German team. Initial negotiations have been held to recall him in January. Only playing 257 minutes on the field so far is not what Liverpool desires. He will likely be found a new team. It has emerged that there is an undisclosed clause in the contract of Luis Openda, who has continued to impress since joining Leipzig at the beginning of the season. According to the information, the French forward's contract includes a release clause of €80 million, valid only for the summer of 2025. Openda has already caught the attention of top clubs with his standout performances. Contract negotiations between Bayern Munich and Alphonso Davies have become complex. The Canadian player is demanding a salary of over €10 million. However, the reigning champions are not willing to offer him such a contract at this stage, as they believe his recent performances have not been sufficient. If the parties cannot reach an agreement, Bayern will not sell him in the summer. They have no intention of losing Davies for free. Thomas Muller's role at Bayern has diminished considerably due to his advancing age. However, the club aims to extend the contract of the experienced player beyond 2024. Negotiations will begin in the coming weeks. Contrary to rumors, Manchester United has no serious interest in Muller for either the January or summer transfer window. The final decision will be with the technical staff. In the past few days, Thomas Tuchel had a private meeting with Ronald Araujo. The German coach discussed his plans for the player, indicating that he could also deploy him as a right-back in addition to the centre-back position. While the Uruguayan defender has not explicitly rejected Bayern, the likelihood of this transfer happening in the winter months is quite low. However, the club is not giving up on this transfer. Similar to the moves for Kane and Maine, they want to achieve the difficult. They will fight until the last moment for this.